Hello and welcome everybody to the Dota League season number 3 European Division 1 myInsanity versus xGame KC. It is not the last game of the group stage, but it's pretty damn close because after this xGame they only have one more game to play up against Scripsis, and that's gonna be it for the group stage. Both teams are looking rather solid so far, 10-4 for myInsanity, or rather for xGame, myInsanity sitting at 11-5. So a lot on the line here. Who's gonna win this will just get their chances or have much better chances to advance into the playoffs. But nonetheless, we're HeflaTV. I'm Coucher and I am joined by Blackadder today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're going to be in for a good game between these two, don't you think, Coucher?
Yeah, I think so, man. xGame, they've been looking pretty damn solid overall. They did just come from a loss up against Fnatic though in, I do believe, the ESL New York qualifiers. They did lose 2-1, so not a devastating loss or something, but a loss nonetheless, so might be a little bit demoralizing for them.
Maybe, and the psychological aspect of the game is always something we do have to keep in mind, but going into this JDL Season 3 game, I reckon they're going to use it as a way of clearing their heads and just come out fighting, in all honesty.
Yeah, I would hope so at the very least. So looking at the bans, actually a Bat Rider was the ban from myInsanity. I mean, I still believe it's one of the strongest initiators in the game, yet it just gets overlooked so damn often. Not banned nor picked, but myInsanity, they give that hero some credit, but of course, that leaves other strong heroes in the pool. But Nature's Prophet first pick?
It may just be a sign that they want to play very aggressive, and it does leave a good few picks in the pool. The Razor is one of them. I was going to also mention the Brewmaster, but they're going to opt for the Wraith King instead. So could be coming out with looking for a brawling style to fight up against the Prophet.
Well, we'll see how well it works out, or how they want to go about just trying to counter the split push they're at Dota. But I mean, Razor and Wraith King, they're definitely solid enough heroes. But myInsanity, do they go for more now? I mean, if they get the double Prophets, the Def and the Nature's Prophet, it's going to be extremely hard to stop the push, and well, maybe something like a Shadow Shaman wouldn't be too bad either. It's just an extremely solid support all around.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Shadow Shaman pick up here. Then they'd only need to get one more support, and they won't have the supports targeted, specifically the push-heavy ones. I mean, when you pick Nature's Prophet, you telegraph your idea, your strategy for the most part. I mean, there is some variance in styles of Prophet, like we could see the whole 13-minute all-in VC gaming push kind of Prophet, or the split push Bulldog Prophet, for lack of better wording for it. But either way, he's a rat. What do we say about rats? We hate rats.
Well, it's... I mean, I guess that's true enough. I do hate rats, but Nature's Prophet, it's fun to see him every now and then. Some people like to play a really aggressive Nature's Prophet, just start going aggressive on the map early on with his teleport, the global teleport, and actually do make use of that even in the laning phase. But that's usually when it's like a mid lane or maybe safe lane, tri-lane Nature's Prophet or something like that. But we'll see how myInsanity will go. Most likely will be the casual offlane Nature's Prophet. But myInsanity themselves is banning out an Enchantress. That's a weird ban to go for, especially if you're the ones pushing.
This could just be a tip of the hat to xGame. They may have a player that likes the Enchantress even. And you've got to consider Enchantress as a hero. What can it bring to the table? Brings a good amount of pushing power, sure. Also brings quite a bit of brawling potential. I mean, do you ever want to be on the receiving end of an Impetus?
No.
Exactly, and Impetus is also pure damage as well, so it's not mitigated by a variance of things. I mean, it's one of the better things to use up against that Viper, because the corrosive skin, the damage reduction, doesn't apply to it.
I mean, I guess since myInsanity, they do have the semi-pushing lineup. Nature's Prophet likes to go for Necrobook as well. Enchantress could just take either the Necro Warrior or Archer for herself as well.
Yes, certainly it can be a good hero at taking away the Necrobook units, and I actually like that aspect of the Enchantress as one of the better things to do with it, especially when you're against a push-heavy strat that will be looking for inevitable Necrobooks. I mean, we all know how nasty a Necrobook is, but we may be getting a little too centric on the lineup of myInsanity. What do you think of the opening picks for xGame KZ?
Well, the two heroes are definitely extremely strong. xGame, they do love themselves actually a core Wraith King. They've run it almost in every single game I guess casted off them across the past week or something in the Dota League. So unless banned, they run the core Wraith King. So I'm expecting that to come out here as well. It's just, I have no clue what their supports are going to be to just surround it. What heroes are, or what supports? I guess Skyref Mage is always one option. Wraith King plus Skyref Mage work reasonably well together. since the Brave Blast pretty solid stun, slow on top of it.
It being a core Wraith King, and you've got a Nature's Prophet already on the table, he's going to be creating Treant. The one that comes to mind, and it's one of my favorite heroes, is Earthshaker. I mean, Earthshaker would be very powerful against this. Sure, he needs Arcanes and a Blink, but he's a good, very defensive support, works very well with a Wraith King, and you give him more things to Echo Slam, and he will ruin your day.
Yeah, that is true enough for sure at the moment. I mean, the Echo Slams are extremely devastating. Of course, at the moment, I guess myInsanity, they can push from a distance, or at least the heroes can stay at a relative safe distance. Unless they just get overeager and just run next to the tower or next to the minions. But an Enigma was banned by xGame with the 4th one. Sky of Mage taken out by myInsanity doesn't really surprise me too much. But each Akira pickup, so xGame, they're going for some push of their own now.
True, they are going for some push, but is this a core Jakiro? That is a question I'm going to have to ask here. Because we've seen core Jakiro in the recent weeks, and you've got Razor who can push towers, Liquid Fire to help out, and a core Wraith King. This could be their 3 cores. Then again, the Jakiro could be a lane support with this Wraith King. Less common these days, but certainly something to keep in mind. And Jakiro is a very powerful support in his own right. He does also combo up very well with an Earthshaker, which would not surprise me still for either of these teams, in all honesty. Because you've got to consider for myInsanity, they need another support to go with the Shadow Shaman. Earthshaker, long-range initiation, lets the Shadow Shaman come up, get his shackles, get his hex. I like the Earthshaker pick for both of these teams here.
I wouldn't mind it really either for either team. Like you said, just long-range initiation and allow the Shadow Shaman to get up close if you want to go for those early roams as well. I guess they really don't need to go for additional push at the moment, although Death Prophet still in the pool as well, didn't even get banned out by either side here. Just banning out rather an Enigma from xGame. So, whoa, why Tinker? Oh my god, this is cancer in the making. I can't believe I forgot that hero for a second here, but Nature's Prophet with Tinker, it's gonna be hard for xGame, but they do pick up a Clockwork now to just try to counter Tinker somewhat.
I like the pickup of Clockwork here. I mean, the hook shot in, get in Tinker's face, trap some people with Cogs, Macro Pyre on top from the Jakiro. I like this combination. You've also got the combination of Clockwork and Razor, Cogs holding them in position again. That positional control that it adds, the disruption it can also add as well. Good for Razor to drain damage, good for Wraith King to get in position, good for Jakiro with the Macro Pyres, the Ice Paths. I like this combination.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty damn strong, and it's actually one of the best pickups they could have gone for, I guess, them needing an offlaner anyway at the moment. So, myInsanity, what do they go for now, and is this a game where Tinker just will go for the 4-staff instead of the Blink, for example?
I'm unsure about 4-staff over Blink. I mean, Blink is going to completely depend on how the Clockwork can play in the early game. They'll influence Tinker's reasoning, but myInsanity pick up an Undying. Now, you say earlier cancer in the making when you saw the Tinker, and now you've got an Undying present on this game. Need I point out Echo Slam targets here for Insanity?
Oh man, Earthshaker just gets better and better in this game, or at least in theory it does. So we'll see if myInsanity maybe bans it out now. xGame, they are in need of one additional support. Of course, depending whether myInsanity thinks the Wraith King is going to be core. And even though xGame, they do love it as a core hero for Mantis, they can still swap it around if need be. And I mean, Wraith King and Jakiro, even roaming wouldn't be too bad at all, I think.
Wraith King Jakiro is a pretty damn good roaming combination. I mean, support Wraith King is popular for good reason. You've got a very good stun, which has a tapering slow on the end of it. You then mix in the nice combination of Wraith King can strategically die. And I don't think there'll ever be another hero where I can use those words legitimately.
Oh, wow.
Get in position, strategically die, slow everyone for the Jakiro and the Razor. You can do a good amount of damage with that. And then you'll be looking for another core, of course, if this is a support Wraith King. And when you've got a Tinker, honestly, one of my preferred favorites is the Chaos Knight, but I highly doubt we'll see it in this game, as we do get a last Mirana ban here coming out of myInsanity, going to the last pick for xGame. And my expectation is, if this is a core Wraith King, an Earthshaker. If it's a support Wraith King, then I'm unsure. You're going to want something that can get in Tinker's face and try to kill him quickly. Then again, Tinker has a decent-sized mana pool, so does a Prophet. I mean, dare I say the words anti-mage?
Oh, well, it wouldn't be too bad of a hero since myInsanity so far the only lockdown is the Shadow Shaman. So it wouldn't be a bad bit. Yeah, I was thinking like maybe Storm Spirit. And actually the same applies. When there's not too much lockdown on the NM team, Storm Spirit is actually a pretty damn strong hero to have.
Well, the Storm makes a lot of sense. I was honestly expecting the Razor mid, so that's why I didn't mention the Storm, but it's going to be most likely a Razor safe lane here, Storm mid, Clockwork off lane, and then you got your roaming support, Wraith King, Jakiro. However, for myInsanity, they could pick up Nortram at this point.
Well, it actually could be a pretty strong pickup at the moment. I mean, Silence to rule them all, more or less, or at least just Storm Spirit, he zips in suddenly. Silence awaiting him, and he's a gunner, but they go for a Queen of Pain instead. Doesn't offer any lockdown yet. The burst damage is pretty damn ridiculous coming out by them now. Between the Tinker, the Queen of Pain, and even Shadow Shaman, just with the Ether Shock, Undying, spamming Decay so that they will actually drop lower on health due to losing strength.
I think the more interesting thing is how myInsanity are going to lane this, in all honesty, because you consider Queen of Pain, you think mid. Tinker, you also think mid. Undying can off-lane, Prophet can off-lane, Shaman can mid. Their lanes are flexible for myInsanity, and I want to see what they're going to do with that before I make any bets on which team I think will win, more importantly. But nonetheless, what are you going to bet on team-wise?
Well, I'll actually say myInsanity will take this. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be just a matter of how much the Storm Spirit can actually get accomplished early on, how much farm he gets. If he can snowball, then yes, of course, it's just always hard to stop a Storm Spirit, but I just think myInsanity, they're a little bit more mobile and can just apply more global pressure and kind of make xGame move as myInsanity wants.
I'll agree that they're more mobile across the map. I'm never going to deny that when you've got Quap, Nature's Prophet, as well as a Tinker. But xGame's draft is very solid. It's very centric on what it wants to do. And as long as they can deal with the split pushing, and trust me, they can with a Jakiro and a Clockwork, I'm going to put my money on draft alone on xGame. But the most important thing for me is to see how myInsanity are going to lane this. They are flexible. They are fluid in their lanes. And I would honestly expect a Tinker safe lane Quap mid. Then you could put the Prophet potentially in the offlane, but it'll depend on what they're going to do with this Undying, because Undying, he was popular a while ago. We all know he was popular maybe, I want to say 8 months ago. I could be slightly wrong on my time frame, but he was popular for 1 point. Same was Visage, and their jobs in the game was tri-lane destroyer. You get multiple decays from an Undying, Soul Rip, Tombstone, it destroys a tri-lane. Hands down, ruins it. Same, of course, for the Visage and Soul Assumption, but it comes under the mentality that if they're using the Undying in the tri-lane kind of role, is it going to be an aggressive tri-lane? And it certainly might be an aggressive... Surely not. Not an aggressive tri-lane Queen of Pain.
It sure looks like it at the moment. The one good thing about this is that the supports are actually free to roam around as well after they get like a kill or two in the lane, because Queen of Pain should be safe with just a blink out, but oh, sentries come out, but oh man, xGame, they're just going to lose theirs.
It's the downside when you've got a tri-lane kind of style. It's whoever can establish a better control with their wards will have a little bit of an early advantage. But look at that decay drop already. That was a 3-man decay on the first one. And decay is one of these skills that I like to call deceptive. Sure, it does a small amount of damage, but the most important thing is the strength steal. That strength steal is deceptive because it shows as maximum HP drained. It doesn't affect the health bar per se. But Undying just stole 12 strength there.
Yeah,
That's a staggeringly large amount with one spell. And he's just going to continue this kind of decay. He got 2 more heroes there, and this is going to be very nasty for xGame to fight up against.
I mean, I just would have hoped that somebody picks up actually Ring of Passive for them as well if they're going for an aggressive tri-lane like this. Just to make sure that Victor actually can keep on spamming out the decay like he is.
I would be completely in agreement with you there. And I suppose in our haste to talk about the lanes and the unorthodox style that myInsanity are going for here, we neglected to introduce the players and the teams. So we should probably jump back a second and deal with that.
Indeed we should, so I guess I'll just go over the dire side. For myInsanity, the aggressive tri-lane will consist of Smudge, is Punara, which means Dragon in the Wells, if I'm not mistaken, is on the Queen of Pain, Victor to play the Undying, leaving LeBron on the support Shadow Shaman, just messing around with Reeves at the moment. Mid lane is gonna be the standing Milan on the Tinker, and their off lane, or solo safe lane rather, Grizzin on the Nature's Prophet.
On the flip side of that coin, of course, for xGame, we have Mantis on the Razor. We have Equal on the Jakiro. Over towards the mid right now, we've got Reeves, who's on that Wraith King, that support role. He's just going to be continuing to maintain some form of rune control, or at least try to, but Tombstone is at least going to annoy him for now. Over in the mid lane, however, for xGame, we do have Watafucker on the Storm Spirit, and finally, over in the off lane for xGame, we have, how is that pronounced as I fail at this? Stalcat on the Clockwork Goblin now.
So actually what happened at the moment is that the Wraith King got himself an Illusion Rune. He went rather aggressive on the Shadow Shaman, then the Undying came up. He popped the Tombstone, but the Shadow Shaman shackled an Illusion.
Okay. Well, it happens to the best of us, but from where we stand, I suppose that can be seen as a bit of a shenanigans going the way of myInsanity there. But as we sit, I originally said my bet was on xGame, but this tri-lane from myInsanity could be very strong, because you've got to consider they've got the Queen of Pain slow, they've got Decay across the board, Tombstone, which I expect to be leveled as priority, and then you've got all of the control effects and potential burst damage coming out of LeBron on that Shadow Shaman. So, as much as I favour xGame, this tri-lane could be devastating depending on how well it takes off, and it's all going to come down to how well this is played out.
Yeah, it definitely will. I mean, so far Victor's doing a pretty nice job. Actually, the slow one to Reeves, the Tombstone comes down as well. They want to go for the first blood. Another decay, actually, he has it if he wants to spam it out. Even Grizzin joins the fight. Blink in, Scream of Pain up on the free hero, shackles onto Equal. It's not going to be only one kill. Just 2 kills straight off the bat. And actually, do they keep on going? The Sprout comes out, the right clicks are flying. They might even have enough, and indeed they do. Victor, wow, man, just tri-lane wipe.
Indeed, that's a complete tri-lane wipe. Sure, you've got the rotations into Nature's Prophet, but that's more than worth it. And you've got to consider that was a double kill onto the Undying. Undying is one of those heroes that can spiral out of control. You get early levels on him, you get potentially arcane boots, and then you just look to tank up as an Undying. All of that potential for harassment with Decay as he levels it up, as well as having the mana to just continue spamming should he go for arcanes. It's going to be a fairly nasty thing to deal with on the side of xGame. I mean, dealing with an Undying can be one of the hardest things if he gets a level advantage. And I'll also point out, he's opting for more points in Decay over the Tombstone at this point in the game. That doesn't actually change how much strength is stolen, just the initial damage coming out of the Decay on each use of the spell. And you have to consider, is the extra, effectively 40 damage and shorter cooldown by 2 seconds, worth the increased mana cost of not having the extra range on the Tombstone? Because that's one of the biggest concerns with the Undying. Which skill do you prioritize? Because Decay, yes, it's nice as you level it up in terms of the cooldown reduction. But for a 4-second cooldown, you have 130 mana cost on a strength hero that does not have the best int per level.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a little bit hard, man. I think Decay might be a little bit more of a stable pickup here or something, since he might not even get the Tombstone in range unless it's like level 3 to begin with or something. So maybe he wants to go a little bit more active, although usually definitely see Tombstone, and actually Equal is going to get slowed down. Are they going to go for it, Victor? He sure wants to go. Decay comes out, Ice Path misses them. Ether Shock, man, that was such an easy kill. They want to keep going on Mantis, maybe. No, he matches sticks up. He's going to be safe, but he just keep on killing. And for this frag, Victor, he had himself the Urn of Shadows as well, so they will have the sustain heal coming out.
I'll point out as well, the amount of burst damage on this lane coming out of myInsanity. You've got Ether Shock at level 2, and you've got the Queen of Pain, Scream of Pain, at level 2 already. So that's already adding up to easily 400 damage, just napkin math, a bit less I think. I think it's 365 at level 2 of both spells, yeah. And now we do get the initiation with the hookshot from Stalcat. They're going to try to bring down LeBron. With that hookshot, it should be enough to secure the kill, but will the Clockwork manage to get out of here? I don't think he will, so I think he's just given his life away as an offlaner for a support. And with one more Scream of Pain, they will clean that one up. And I'm wondering if we aren't going to see a little bit of pursue here coming out of myInsanity. We could see it go on the Razor, but with Queen of Pain with the Invis Rune, I'm unsure if this is going to continue. Then again, is getting in position, could be looking for that Shadow Strike, but where is the follow-up going to come from in that case? They throw the Scream of Pain, not going to put the Shadow Strike on target, not enough mana for both spells, and seems we're not going to get any more aggression down here quite yet.
I mean, if there was like the Shadow Shaman was there as well to provide some additional lockdown, they would have gone for it, I think, but Queen of Pain doesn't want to take the risk himself. He was rather low on mana as well, so just bottling up, even has 10 stick charges. Has enough to finish up boots as well if he wants to finish them. I mean, I wouldn't horribly mind even arcane boots on Queen of Pain at the moment since you're in a tri lane, but that's usually not the item you want to go on her.
No, it isn't, and it's going to be a curious one. So now we get another Wraith Fire Blast thrown, but the Undying will just decay and force this one back. I mean, he keeps stealing strength like this. It's just a way of holding the enemy back, because you really do not want to commit when you've got decay stacks on yourself. But while this little bit of aggression was going on the bottom lane, we do have Grazine finishing off the first tier 1 of the game. That was because the Clockwork rotated away and looked for the kill on LeBron. Sure, you killed the support Shadow Shaman, you lost your offlaner to a death, and you lost your tier 1 on the offlane. myInsanity definitely took the advantage right there.
Yeah, and just looking at yearly gold graph as well, it's 4,000 for myInsanity at the moment. They might get the kill onto Milando. Ball lighting, what the fuck? He actually misses it. There's the hook shot. It also completely whiffs Tinker. He's just on the run at the moment. Grazine, is he gonna TP in? March just the machines. It came down already. They get the shackles onto what the fuck. Actually, will they get the kill? They get one. Clockwork is down. Hex onto what the fuck as well. I mean, yes, they get the Tinker, but hey, horrible trade.
Yeah, again, they lose the offlaner and the mid for that. I mean, chasing into a Tinker, he got his march down, and you mentioned in the draft the support and the rotation power coming out of myInsanity with their draft so far. It is just a sheer force of nature in this game, and xGame need to play a little bit smarter in my mind. They need to avoid these poor trades, and these trades are going to be the reason they lose this game if this continues. Now we can see the potential dive on Mantis. They're going to drop the Tombstone. In comes the TP from Stalcat. He's going to try to destroy the Tombstone, but the zombies are already going to start ticking on him, and with the Queen of Pain and the Undying here, there's no chance this Razor can escape. He's even soul ripping to try to ensure he gets away. Ball lightning forward though, going to get the kill, at least onto the Undying from Whatafucker. Now we get the rotation into Grazine though. He's going to look to bring down Whatafucker, but Whatafucker has hardly any mana left. Now completely out, but in comes the Clockwork. Does manage to catch Grazine inside the cogs, but Reeves can't strike him at this point, and now we could potentially see the reinitiate and turnaround. We're going to, however, get caught in the trees with the Sprout, and the Ice Path will be enough to clean that one up. Whatafucker will pick up the double, and this is better coming out of xGame, in all honesty. This is what we needed to see. But while this is going on, Milan will start taking this ancient stack that was prepared for him by LeBron. And you've got to consider, how far is this Tinker away from his travels? 700, 600 or less gold. He might have it from this stack alone.
It was actually a 6 stack, I believe, so a crap ton of gold, about 1,500 maybe, potentially even there. So nicely done. Actually, the hookshot misses again, but they want to go in Stalker. No, Mass Serpent Wars. Oh my god.
LeBron! Perfect ward trap ways the Clockwork tries to walk uphill, and that's the last thing you want to see. So they clean up the ancient stack, they also get the kill on the Clockwork, and Stalcat is not having a good game. Now we get the initiation, however, from the Queen of Pain. They're going to look for equal, and Jakiro could take a fall here. Ice Path only connects onto the Undying, but Macropire drops as well. But the Tombstone is down in response. The Scream of Pain is there. They're going to bring down the Undying. Yes, they are. So it's a 1-for-1 trade so far, but equally, now you've got Reeves coming in, looking to chop away at the Queen of Pain, but Queen of Pain goes aggressive, managing to find the Razor, and now they're going to turn around for Reeves. The laser is there, the damage coming through from Tinker, as well as LeBron is here, and there's no chance to escape that one as we get a disconnect from Stalcat as well.
I sure as hell hope it's not the Rage disconnect, since at the moment nobody's even pausing for them. I don't know if they haven't noticed it actually yet themselves, but one thing I want to point out that happened like a minute or two ago, especially since we're paused now. When they dove the Razor, when Undying died and the Nature Prophet died after that, the Queen of Pain had just picked up a Haste Rune, but she activated the Haste Rune and then went for a Shadow Strike onto Razor, thus getting purged by Unstable Current and losing the Haste Rune.
I suppose that is one of the nicest things about the Unstable Current, if it purges away runes if single target damage is dealt to the Razor. So I can understand why Mantis would pick the Razor in this kind of draft, but I have to consider here, was it the right draft here from xGame to go up against this very aggressive, pushy style of myInsanity?
I just think the draft, it was pretty damn okay, I think. The lanes should have been rather standard, but myInsanity with the aggressive tri-lane, I mean, I'm not even too sure since, like you said, Undying, he is just focused on crushing tri-lanes. That's what he does. That's where he's best at as well. I saw an Undying pick up, I think, 2 days ago or something, but the enemy just went for the dodge and went for an aggressive tri-lane themselves. So the Undying up against one hero didn't do much of anything. So maybe xGame should have just left the Clockwork bottom lane as well, for example. Since with the power cogs, you actually I think would have been rather safe up against Undying, Shadow Shaman and Queen of Pain. Just cogs them up and run away.
To an extent, yes, but you've got to consider the Queen of Pain can jump into the cogs and avoid the pushback, because that's what you're really looking for in that kind of 1v try lineup. You want to use the cogs to be draining the enemy's mana as well as keeping positional control, so you can stay in experience range. Problem with that is the draft out of myInsanity. Shadow Shaman can CC over the cogs, Queen of Pain can jump into the cogs, and Undying doesn't care because he'll just drop his tombstone in the cogs.
Well, I guess that's true enough, but maybe xGame just should have tried to rotate a little bit more, but then again, they can't really leave the Razor alone there either. So, it's just myInsanity, they're laning, it was spot on, catching xGame by surprise, it looked like at the very least, and just getting the upper hand there, and man, this tri lane, it just worked out wonders for them. All of them have just a ridiculous amount of farm. I mean, the Shadow Shaman, he pretty much has the same as the Razor and the Clockwork.
Which is the last place you really want to be if you're xGame, and we have to consider potential item choices coming out for LeBron here. He wants an early Blink Dagger. He's already got his Arcane, so if he can be that initiating force for myInsanity without committing, say, the Queen of Pain, I think myInsanity are going to be able to control this game going through the mid to possibly late game if this goes late. And that's a big if, because considering you're up against strong pushing power, you're up against the kind of pushing power that levels all towers in 20 minutes.
Oh wow, it's going to be an extremely hard game for xGame now. At least Storm Spirit has a reasonable amount of farm. 1 and 0 as well, so 3 kills to his name. So if he gets his Orchid within a pretty nice timing, they are definitely still in this game. I mean, the Orchid will be excellent up against any of myInsanity's heroes.
I'll be inclined to agree with that, but the slight problem here for the Orchid, you've got to consider how you mentioned all of the members are susceptible to the Orchid. It's a case of, is one Orchid not enough?
Well, it probably isn't, but I guess they kind of have to hope that myInsanity, they won't go for the 5-man push, so that xGame can actually go for those pickoffs, just hook shot into Storm Spirit, ball lightning in, or something like that. But I don't think myInsanity will give them too much of an opening. Yes, Chrisine probably will be split pushing, so Storm Spirit has huge solo kill potential up onto the solo Nature's Prophet, but other than that, I think myInsanity, they just want to group and go for towers.
Yeah, I would be inclined. They're going to group and start going for towers. This is why I question, is the Orchid enough? Because, sure, you put Orchid, say, on the Undying, the rest of the team will protect him. Same applies to any member of myInsanity. No matter who you silence, the rest of the team will turn around and shield them. And equally, what if I needs to be careful here? And sure, he's only got 1 Oblivion, so he's still a good chunk away from an Orchid, but by the time he gets this Orchid, we're going to be looking around, I don't know, maybe 17 to 18 minutes, if not later than that, considering how unpleasant the game has been for the lineup of xGame. And we've got to consider, towers are still falling here. What if I got the Invis Room, going to be looking to go in. We'll be going straight onto LeBron. Where's the Tombstone? Going to drop now. Do we have the potential to turn this one around? I don't think we do. Then again, Queen of Pain wants to potentially come back in. Equal TP's in as well. The Tombstone's still alive, doing some good work here. Number of zombies is huge, but now, with the Tombstone gone, they can't fight into this one, surely. Queen of Pain will come back with the Aegis, and what if I could force them the tree line? Surely this is a disengage, or is it? They're going to go on to equal. He's going to drop his Macropie, but it does not matter. Tinker's coming in now. Is the Tinker going to be able to get anything off the back of the one? Rockets are going to fly. What if I will dodge them for now, but they lose themselves a Shadow Shaman. They kill the Clockwork and the Jakiro, and get the tier 1. 3 objectives effectively for loss of 1. Now we get the re-engage coming on to Buckstock, and he could potentially go down here, but no, in comes the turnaround. The Scream of Pain is there as well as the Mass Serpent Wards. They lose the Clockwork again. No chance of surviving that one. Reeves, however, will manage to pick off the Undying, but not without losing his life a second time. And you can see the mass fallback coming out of xGame. You get the TP away by the Shadow Shaman, and no one else wants to be caught.
Yeah, Chrisine actually failed on his Sprout a little bit here. He was pretty damn close to the Razor, but he delayed the Sprout, might have been on cooldown, so not 100% sure. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but myInsanity definitely taking the better fights, and it's to be expected. Their lineup is full of burst, and they do have the level as well as the gold advantage, and of course the ages. I mean, Queen of Pain, they actually didn't do all that much before having that second life pop in, but I guess they didn't even really need it all that bad. And look at the score on Queen of Pain, the KDA 6-0-6, level 11 Queen of Pain, who was in an aggressive tri-lane. Getting that many levels is absolutely unheard of.
It's insane, and that's just the kill potential that myInsanity have. And we mentioned the kill potential. Sure, that's one thing to keep track of. The other thing, though, let's take a quick look at the net worth, shall we? Tinker, Queen of Pain, Nature's Prophet. Top 3 cores all belong on that list to myInsanity. Then we have the Storm, and then the Undying above the Razor. The support Undying has more farm than the Razor in this game.
Oh.
That is a colossal victory there for myInsanity. And at this point in, I reckon they can just keep snowballing towers down. It's going to be very hard for xGame to be able to hold their towers for 1, be able to hold their towers without losing heroes for 2.
And it's definitely going to be hard for them, an uphill battle to say the least at the moment. And what is their comeback here? It's not like they have some great split push of their own. Jakiro, he can try to do something, but he's most likely going to get picked off if he goes solo there. Storm Spirit maybe can go, but he's definitely not going to be fast enough. myInsanity, they can push out 2 lanes just as fast as xGame could go for 1 while trying to defend one of their lanes. So I think myInsanity with their early game lead, I'm not too sure if xGame has a comeback here. I mean, it definitely, you can never underestimate your opponent's ability to throw, but
I suppose that's one way to phrase it. You ask what their comeback potential is. I think the biggest problem here is the way they've been committing to these fights. I mean, we've seen some instances where Stylecat just has... We've said Stylecat has not had the best game. I reckon if they fully commit to a fight with Stylecat getting a good hook shot to start things off, and we have seen a number of missed hook shots so far in this game, they might be able to repel, but they need to take the fight as a 5v5. And they need to take it in such a way where the Storm isolates the Shadow Shaman, considering the amount of control he brings. They burst down the Queen of Pain before she can get off any of her excessive damage or escape. She's going to be the first priority while the Shadow Shaman is locked down. And they have to hope that Tinker is too busy getting mana at the fountain. That is it. That is it. If they take the fight when the Tinker is there, I don't think they can hold it.
oh man, that's a lot to actually base your trust on, or just hope that, let's hope the Tinker is refilling his mana in the base. But it's sad but true that that's how, or where the game is at the moment. Especially now that Smash, Dragon on the Queen of Pain, he has the Orchid finished for himself. So getting it before the Storm Spirit, suddenly Storm Spirit, if he jumps in, yes, there's literally only 1 lockdown on the Shadow Shaman, but the Orchid will act just as a lockdown.
Well, it's a case that they have to take the fight and they have to do it perfectly. They need to kill the right priorities, and well, that isn't the right thing for xGame at all, as they lose the clockwork again. But again, it seems like Stylecat is just not on form tonight. He's out of position. He's got picked off numerous times. He's been missing hook shots. I mean, I don't know. It feels like xGame is slightly on tilt. Even Mantis is taking a large amount of damage just from trying to farm up against this Tinker in the March. And Milan is just hiding in the tree line, just keeping this March going and forcing back Mantis every damn time. I say they need to take the perfect team fight. They need to take the perfect team fight at this point. You can get no perfecter team fight near enough than the one they need. They have to bring down the right target with the right priority, and equally, they need to CC and isolate the rest of the team, which is incredibly hard. And you consider how myInsanity this time are playing. They don't even need to commit as 5 right now. The Queen of Pain just took out the Razor, hands down alone. That's it. When the Queen of Pain can start soloing a core like that, it's going to be near impossible to stop. And now you've got Waterfucker coming in to try to stop this one, but does manage to catch Grazine. Where is the turnaround, though? The Orchid comes out of the Queen of Pain. Are they going to turn around and fight this one? No, Grazine's going to TP away. He doesn't want to get caught, and he is safe. But in comes Tinker. No, he's going to cancel. Never mind. Fight round 2 going to start probably in a minute. We get the Shadow Strike thrown in. Comes the Tinker this time. Into the Ice Bath. Nope, going to dodge that. In come the Rocket Flow, the Laser, the Dagon. There's too much damage, and now we get Queen of Pain jumping aggressively on Waterfucker. And Stylecat is forced back. He has no health. They will manage to bring down the Queen of Pain. And now we get the initiation by Reeves. Going to look to try to chop down Milan. Will, however, have to fall before he can bring down his target. So that's a 3 for 2. I suppose, in the grand scheme of things, that's acceptable here for xGame. And while this is going on, though, you got Bucktop pushing this top lane with Grazine, and I will point this out, that fight would not have gone the way it did if we had the Tombstone there.
Yeah, it's just, Undying is the hero who just wants to fight yet. He was split pushing alone solo at the moment. A little bit weird decision making, but xGame, they're definitely extremely happy about getting 2 cores, they're down, as well as 1 support. And not only did they get the kills, they got a crap ton of gold, they ended Tinker's killing spree, as well as, yes, Queen of Pains, 942 gold. All of it went into the Razor's pocket, so suddenly has a mech finished on top of the power treads. Yet it's still a late one, but at least catching up a little bit. Orchid finished on Storm Spirit as well, and they've smoked up. They are hungry for more Rocket Flare. They see Greasy in. It should be the kill on Nature's Prophet. Yes, Ball Lightning in. Gonna get Electric Vortex, Silence Up, Ice Path to follow, Dual Breath, and yeah, no escaping this, even with the mech, I think.
Yeah, there's no chance he's going to escape this one. And one of the big things I was going to point out before you did there was the mechanism for myInsanity is we do get a little bit of initiation here. They're looking to bring their Mantis and will successfully do so with that last attack. But in comes Reeves, will chop down the Shadow Shaman. Now they're going to look to try to bring down the Queen of Pain, but no, she wants to evacuate from this one, doesn't want to hang around too long. Then again, she has the potential to re-engage. She has her ultimate ready at level 2. This could be a disaster here for xGame if she can get the right initiation, and especially considering in comes the Tombstone. Are we going to see the turnaround fight on this one, though? I mean, those zombies are going to start doing work, and we have the threat of Tinker that can come in at any point. I believe he can also TP 2 zombies, which is another very nice thing for him. And
yeah, it may not be the most reliable of things, but it's definitely something you can do, or at least try to do it. Now the Tombstone, never mind. The aggro of the tower speeches again, so now reason he comes in. Nature's Call, 3 ends come out. Stalker, does he have his hookshot? Yes, he does, but it's still a level 1 hookshot. The cooldown is pretty damn long, and the 3 ends just providing a pretty nice buffer for between the angles of the hookshot.
But now Mantis comes back on, and they're just going to repel the tower, so they succeed in defending the tower, sure, without losing anyone. I suppose that's a better objective, but Mantis now has his mechanism. It's one of those big items that can turn the game in favor of xGame. And I say that for one reason. myInsanity are very bursty. A 250 heal across the board at any point during that burst can derail the potential of myInsanity. But it's still going to be a very tall order, considering just the sheer amount of farm and pressure that we have favouring myInsanity here. But they're going to go on to Bucktop. If they can bring him down, that's going to be huge. He gets his ultimate off, as well as the Scream of Pain, doing a ridiculous amount of damage. That was a fully amplified ult boosted by the Undying, and now he gets to turn around. They're going to look to bring down the Queen of Pain, but she gets forced up through the cog. She's safe. She's far enough back. She's going to now bottle up. Are we going to see the turnaround? Mass 7 wards come down. Mantis will be the focus on the target here. Rosine looking to come in, but Queen of Pain blinks right into an ice path. The Macropire is going to drop as well. The Macropire doing a huge amount, but xGame still standing, at least for a few seconds longer. The Wraith King will reincarnate and TP away, but still, they bring down the Undying and the Shadow Shaman at a loss of 4.
Yeah, man, I think myInsanity, with the supports, they are supposed to die. Well, I guess not supposed to die, but their death is acceptable, let's put it like that. So, I mean, xGame, they did get some decent enough trades before this, but this was definitely not one of them. And where is Roshat? Oh man, it's gonna respawn now. And they spotted out as well, just as they checked it, so a little bit lucky there, just to be there at the right time, but entire advantage. They're having, what, a 15,000 gold lead, about 12,000 XP soon enough, 21 minutes in only. I'm a little bit surprised that the tier 2s actually still stand. Or well, I guess the mid lane doesn't, but...
Yeah, I'm actually surprised as well. I mean, the sheer pushing power coming out of myInsanity, I reckon they could have just shunted those towers if they had turned their full 5-man attention to it. But while they're doing Roshan, you've got the Undying. He has a 4-staff. He will most likely pick up a Blade Mail at some point. On Grazine, he's got his mechanism. He's going to be going for a Necro Book now for the Queen of Pain. I'm not going to try pronouncing that name. I'll butcher it. She's going to be working on that BKB, and when she's got that, xGame are going to have a big problem. How do you control a BKB Quap? Answer, you can't with their lineup.
Hookshot! But it's just not really gonna be enough. They need like Fiend's Grip or something crazy like that, Black Hole, Reverse Polarity, but...
Even Primal Roar.
Yeah, it's... Well, they need all the things they don't have.
Pretty much.
But actually, I mean, Queen of Pain, you can call him Dragon, since Smudge, or however you pronounce it, means dragon in Serbian.
Okay, then we'll call him Dragon. I suppose that's easier for me. I mean, much, much easier. And they're going to start pushing on that tier 2.
And the Undying is just Victor.
Okay. That's a lot easier, actually. And now we do get the potential threat of the Storm Spirit initiation, but Ghost Scepter used by Milan, he wants to stay completely safe, and they're just going to repel their mid-tier 1 while they get the bottom tier 2 in favour of myInsanity. But now we get the smoke and the potential threat of a teamfight coming out of the back of this Undying. And the Undying is the teamfight engine that you want to be starting, the cacophony of the fight that you want.
Yeah, they have the level 2 ultimate as well, so he can just go in pretty damn deep. Nature Prophet has the mech support for them as well. xGame now, they finally get the tier 1 tower themselves on the top lane. They needed 4 heroes to do so, but... Well, there is one nice item pickup. Reeves gets himself that Blade Mail. Just run into Mars the Machines. Hope to survive a little bit longer, but...
Well, a Blade Mail will help, sure. And ooh, hello. Okay, I don't see this item pickup often, but we do get a point booster picked up by the Undying. Now, if memory serves, the Aghanim's ult for Undying increases the damage amplification of all targets around him. I'm actually having to confirm this one because it's such a rare Aghanim's pickup. Aghanim's Scepter. Let me see.
Yeah,
Undying...
It increases the minimum damage amplification as well as the max damage by 5% both.
Yeah,
and
that's
the death heal from heroes and creeps increases as well.
Huh, okay.
So it pretty much increases the percentages of every aspect of his ultimate, but they're gonna go in, they will get the silence of what the fuck, will they use the Sonic Wave for it? Yes they will! The mech will pin off the Soul Burn, it's gonna come through and get the kill. Now they're gonna go for Stalkat next, he's still slowed down, hexed up, Mantis will be surely next to follow, or Willy might survive under the tier 4. E-Blade into equal, the Dagon to follow Milan, he gets stunned, but they don't care, 4 heroes down, none of them have buybacks, and this is definitely closing in on GG.
Indeed, when you've got a Tinker that comes in with that amount of potential burst, with the amplification of Victor in the middle of the mix as well. I mean, Undying is brilliant for the amplification he provides as well as the negative strength that he takes on targets. This is just such a big threat. The Undying combined with the burst damage of a Tinker, with a Queen of Pain, and hell, you mix in Shock from LeBron on top of that. This is a scary lineup by myInsanity, and I do very much enjoy seeing it, as they're going to lose Reeves potentially in the fountain. He will pop his stick and is safe for now, but while this is going on, they've lost their mid-racks, now their bottom racks is being the target. It's honestly been a show of force from myInsanity.
Yeah, and will they make the escape now? LeBron, he has a 4-staff as well, the hookshot, it catches Victor. Are they gonna get the Undying? Nice cogs come out, Clockwork actually has his Blade Mail activated, so they might get some kills, but Milan comes in from the backside, what the fucker. He goes down so damn fast. Victor, he's on the run from Mantis, Eye of the Storm activated, Flesh Golem. Will it actually be enough? It might. He's still alive, or nope, they catch him in the end, but Wrath of Nature bounces through. Dragon, he comes in, and well, he loses the Aegis, but Mantis, will the zombies be enough?
No, the zombies won't be enough, but now you got Queen of Pain back in the mix. We could see an aggressive jump in, especially with the Tinker and Milan still being around. And Milan picks up the triple. Not a chance to survive that one. They're going to bring down Reeves a second time as well. He has no escape potential from this at all. Oh, man, just a strong show of force.
Yeah, just extremely. 25-minute GG, and just from the get-go, their aggressive tri-lane set the pace of the game completely. And of course, mid lane. Since xGame, all the supports, or both of the supports, had to be on the bottom lane 100% of the time, the Tinker just got free farm in the mid lane pretty much. Well, not free farm, I guess, because he was up against the Storm Spirit, but no threats of incoming ganks.
I completely agree. And in all honesty, this went downhill from the point where the tri-lane was picking up kills. The way you deal with that kind of potential tri-lane is either you rotate out so you've got your solo against it. Sure, we did mention Clockwork may not be as good against that tri-lane as could be, but the best way of dealing with it is play defensive. If a tri-lane like that do not get kills, that's how you beat it.
Yeah, so maybe if we're gonna see the same or similar situation in next game, maybe xGame can adapt a little bit better, but we will see how they can, and we're heading into game 2, guys, now, since this is a 2-game series. After all, xGame definitely want to take a win here to feel a little bit better about themselves, whereas myInsanity just want to keep on with the show. They want to keep the momentum going. But guys, thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in game number 2.